Good morning. This is Media Unit 1. We are now on the video record. This is the videotaped deposition of Marcus Lemonis being taken on March 10th, 2017. The time is now 11:08 a.m. as indicated on the video screen. We are located at 2275 Half Day Road, Suite 147, Bannockburn, Illinois. This deposition is being taken in the matter of Stetler and RV Sales versus Bellissimo and Camping World. The case number is 50-2010 CA027835, filed in the Circuit Court of the 15th Judicial Circuit in and for Palm Beach County, Florida. My name is Derek Letelier, certified legal videographer in Illinois, representing Lake Cook Reporting, with offices at 2275 Half Day Road, Suite 147, Bannockburn, Illinois. The court reporter today is Marina Mogilevsky, also of Lake Cook Reporting. Counsel, please identify yourselves for the video record and the parties which you represent.
Sure. Good morning. My name is Michael Botter of the Ticton Law Group in Deerfield Beach, Florida. I'm here on behalf of the plaintiff.
Jonathan Clausen of Berger Singerman LLP in Florida on behalf of Camping World Inc. and of course here representing Mr. Lemonis.
Good morning. My name is Dan Rosenbaum. I'm here on behalf of my clients Mark Bellissimo, Question Show Holdings, Equestrian Sport Production, and the Wellington Equestrian Partners.
Okay. If the court reporter would please swear in the witness.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear affirm testimony about to give the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Good morning, sir. As you heard, my name is Michael Botter of the Ticton Law Group. If you can please state and spell your name for the record.
Marcus Lemonis, Marcus Lemonis.
And sir, in which city and state do you reside?
Lake Forest, Illinois. Excuse me.
And do you reside in any other states or locations?
No.
Are you currently married, sir?
Yes.
And who is your spouse?
Isla Lemonis.
And when did Miss Lemonis become your spouse?
2003.
And sir, what is your present position?
Chairman and CEO of Camping World Holdings.
And what is the nature of business of Camping World Holdings?
The sale and service and financing and insurance of recreational vehicles.
And does Camping World Holdings have any subsidiaries?
Yes.
Okay. What are the subsidiaries of Camping World Holdings that you are aware of?
Freedom Roads, LLC. Good Sam Enterprises. And those are the ones I can recall.
And what does Freedom Roads LLC do?
Sale and service, financing, and insurance of recreational vehicles.
And what does Good Sam Enterprises do?
It provides clubs and services to the RV enthusiasts.
And sir, is Freedom Roads LLC, is that a business that operates in all 50 states?
No,
Where does Freedom Roads LLC operate?
I don't recall all the states.
Where is Freedom Roads LLC headquartered?
Lincolnshire, Illinois.
Is there also an entity, Freedom Roads RV, that you're affiliated with, sir?
I don't know the technical legal term, so I don't, the legal entity, so I don't know the answer to that.
Where is Good Sam Enterprises based out of?
Lincolnshire, Illinois.
And is Camping World Holdings also based out of Lincolnshire, Illinois?
Yes.
Mike, just for one quick second, I just want to go on the record. This is John Clausen on behalf of defendant Camping World. Just so you, for the record, Mr. Lemonis is not here as a 30B6 witness. He's here, as you've noticed him in his individual capacity. So just want to make sure that's clear for the record.
Absolutely. Okay. Now, Mr. Lemonis, when did you begin working with Camping World Holdings?
Camping World Holdings is a new entity.
When was Camping World Holdings formed?
Fall of 2016.
Prior to the formation of Camping World Holdings, where were you employed?
The same business, but in a different entity.
Okay. What was the name of the entity?
Freedom Roads, LLC.
Did you hold the same position, Chairman and CEO of Freedom Roads LLC?
CEO.
When did you begin the position of CEO of Freedom Roads LLC?
Approximately 2003.
And sir, have you ever provided deposition testimony prior to this morning?
I think so. One time, maybe.
And approximately when was that prior deposition?
I don't remember.
You recall the nature of the case for that prior deposition?
I don't.
Well, and let me just go over a few of the parameters to just make sure everything goes as smoothly as possible, since it's been some time since your last deposition. First off, if there's ever any time where I ask a question that's unclear, please let me know and I will attempt to rephrase the question to make sure it's clear. Otherwise, I will assume that you understand the question that I'm asking. Does that sound all right?
Sure.
Secondly, it makes the court reporter's job significantly easier if only one of us speak at any which time. So even if you think you know the question I'm asking, if you'll kindly wait until I'm done with my question. And likewise, I won't move on to my next question until you're entirely done with your response. Does that sound all right?
Yes.
And finally, if at any point you'd like to take a break or pause the deposition, please let me know and I'll be happy to accommodate you. I may just ask that you answer the question that's pending. Does that sound all right?
Sure.
Now, Mr. Lemonis, have you ever been involved with the Equestrian Winter Festival down in Wellington, Florida?
Myself personally?
Yes.
No.
Do you have any familiarity with a gentleman by the name of Mr. Mark Bellissimo?
I'm familiar with who he is.
Okay. How are you familiar with Mr. Bellissimo?
I believe he owns the organization. I'm not sure.
And when you say organization, which organization are you referring to?
The one that you asked me about?
The Winter Equestrian Festival?
Yes.
Have you ever met Mr. Bellissimo in person before?
Not that I recall.
Have you ever spoken on the phone with Mr. Bellissimo before?
I'm not sure.
Do you recall the last time that you did that you heard of the name Mr. Bellissimo, or you said you had some familiarity with him?
5 minutes ago.
Prior to today, was there any time where you had become familiar with Mr. Bellissimo's name?
I mean, through this whole process with you guys, yes.
Now, are any of your companies currently involved with the Winter Equestrian Festival down in Wellington?
Yes.
Okay. Which entity?
Believe it's Freedom Roads LLC.
And what is the nature of the involvement of Freedom Roads LLC?
This is sponsorship.
What type of sponsorship?
I don't recall.
When did the sponsorship begin with the Winter Equestrian Festival for Freedom Roads LLC?
I don't remember the exact date.
You remember the approximate year?
I don't.
Well, were you at all involved with the decision to sponsor the Winter Equestrian Festival?
Sure. Yes.
And what was the nature of your involvement with the decision to sponsor?
Well, all decisions in the company that are related to sponsorships generally pass through me.
So are there other types of businesses or events that are sponsored by your company other than the Winter Equestrian Festival?
Yes.
What would be examples of the other types of items?
I don't know specifically.
Is there involvement with sponsoring of other equestrian festivals across the country?
No.
Is there other types of sports sponsorships?
Yes.
What types of sports sponsorships?
Lots of different ones.
Is there involvement in football sponsorship?
Yes.
Baseball sponsorship?
No.
NASCAR sponsorship?
Yes.
And is there a particular department that assists you at your company with these sponsorships?
No.
Is there a particular individual that's involved with getting the information about the sponsorship to you so you can make the decision as to whether or not you're going to sponsor?
It depends on what it is. Could be a variety of different people.
Who's primarily your point person for the Winter Equestrian Festival sponsorship at your company?
I don't really have a point person.
Is there any individuals that you've worked with or discussed the Winter Equestrian Festival with that work at your company?
Yeah, a lot of them.
Who would be the person that you've discussed the Winter Equestrian Festival with the most?
I wouldn't be able to measure the magnitude or the frequency of it.
Yeah. Is there a particular department within your company that does these sponsorships then,
No.
agreements?
No.
How was it that you first became involved with the particular sponsorship at the Winter Equestrian Festival? Was that something you sought out?
I don't remember.
Do you recall speaking with anyone in particular about the Winter Equestrian Festival as why you wanted to get into sponsoring that event?
I talked to somebody, but I don't remember who it was.
What was the nature of your conversation with that individual?
I don't remember.
Well, when approximately was this conversation that you had to get involved with this sponsorship?
I don't remember.
Now, in terms of the Winter Equestrian Festival, has your company's sponsorship changed at all since you first began the sponsorship?
I'm not sure.
When we talk about the sponsorship of the Winter Equestrian Festival by your company, what aspects of the sponsorship are you aware of? So are there certain benefits or parts of this package to sponsor?
I mean, there's signage.
Are there any exclusive naming rights agreements?
I don't know if there's any exclusives. I don't recall if there's anything exclusive.
Now, was there synergy between your company being in the RV industry as well as the Winter Equestrian Festival?
Objective one with the question.
Yeah, I don't understand the question.
Sure, let me try to rephrase it. The fact that you're involved in the RV business, did that have any impact on the decision to sponsor the Winter Equestrian Festival?
I still don't understand the question.
Okay, sure. Would you agree with me, sir, that at NASCAR events, people that use RVs often travel to those events?
You travel how?
Do they take their RVs to the events and park up?
They could take their cars, their motorcycles. I don't know how they get there.
Have you ever attended a NASCAR event before?
Yeah, lots of them.
When you attend the NASCAR events, do you ever see in the infield area the RVs of some of the attendees?
Yeah.
Have you ever attended the Winter Equestrian Festival down in Wellington?
Yeah, I think once.
Do you recall which year you attended the Winter Equestrian Festival?
I don't. It was a while ago.
Was it more than 5 years ago?
I think so.
And when you attended the Winter Equestrian Festival, did you ever see any plots of land nearby where RVs were located?
I didn't.
Do you have any knowledge as to whether or not there are, or at any point there were lots where RVs were located in connection with the attendees of the Winter Equestrian Festival?
Yeah, I had
Objective
heard
form of
that.
the question.
Yeah, I had heard that.
And what did you know about these lots related to the RVs?
I don't remember what I exactly know.
Were you ever interested in having your company participate in the in placing RVs on any of these lots in the Winter Equestrian Festival
For what purpose?
for the purpose of housing attendees?
I don't remember specifically what our purpose was.
Well, were you interested in having some of your inventory on the lots connected with the Winter Equestrian Festival for any purpose for your company?
I'm always interested in sponsorships in generating revenue.
Did you see the opportunity to have your inventory connected with the Winter Equestrian Festival as a way to generate revenue for your business?
Yeah, to some degree.
Did you also see it as a business opportunity, the partnership with the Winter Equestrian Festival?
Yeah, that's why it's a sponsorship.
Did you have any specific goals in connection with the sponsorship, such as additional sales projections or additional revenue related to the Winter Equestrian Festival sponsorship?
Sure.
And what were those goals?
I don't know that I had any specific goals.
Do you know if any of those goals have been met?
Actually, I didn't track them.
And would those have been, did you have goals related to purchase of new RVs?
I don't understand.
Well, when you said you had some goals related to whether or not the sponsorship was a good business venture,
Right.
did those relate to whether or not the RVs that were there were being purchased by attendees from your inventory?
Objective form of the question.
Did you ever have RVs on site for purchase?
I think so.
And do you know if any of the attendees ended up purchasing any of these RVs?
I don't.
Did you also have RVs on site for advertising purposes that people didn't live in?
I don't remember.
Now, when you went down to the Winter Equestrian Festival, did you see any of your RVs or any of your inventory on site?
I didn't.
Now, have you been involved with your company having any locations of RV sales in Palm Beach County, Florida?
I don't understand the question.
Have any of the companies that you've been involved with, either Freedom Roads or your current company, Camping World Holdings, are there any locations of that company or branch locations in Palm Beach County, Florida?
No.
Are there any locations of Camping Road or Camping World Holdings or Freedom Roads in Broward County, Florida?
No.
Are there any locations in Miami-Dade County, Florida?
No.
Are there any locations in Martin County, Florida?
I don't know what Martin County is.
Does your company have any locations at all in the state of Florida?
Yes.
And are there one location or multiple locations of your company?
I don't know the number.
Would you say there's more than one location?
Yes.
Do you know the cities that any of these locations are located?
Yes.
What cities?
I don't recall exactly to be able to rattle them off.
Okay. Do you recall any cities in which your company has locations in the state of Florida?
Yes.
Okay. Off the top of your head, what would be examples of cities in which your company has locations in the state of Florida?
Jacksonville, Florida.
Has your company ever had any locations in Broward County, Florida?
No.
Have you ever had any desire to expand your business into Broward County, Florida?
I have desire to expand my business wherever I can expand my business.
Does that include Broward County, Florida?
It includes anywhere that there's an opportunity to generate revenue.
Is there anything about Broward County, Florida where you would not want to expand your business into Broward County, Florida?
The land cost is high.
Have you explored at all the possibility of expanding your business into Broward County, Florida?
I haven't really thought about it.
How were you aware of the land costs being high?
I'm from South Florida.
Where in South Florida are you from?
Miami.
Do you still maintain property in Miami?
I don't.
Do you personally maintain any property in the state of Florida?
Yes,
Where in the state of Florida?
in Jacksonville.
Do you maintain property in any other cities in Florida besides Jacksonville?
Personally maintain them?
Personally.
No. Oh, actually, my dad's house. Yeah, in Delray.
You wouldn't consider yourself as residing in Delray Beach ever, correct?
No, I take care of my dad.
Now, have you ever heard of the entity RV Sales of Broward Incorporated prior to today?
Yes.
When was the most recent time you heard of RV Sales of Broward prior to today?
When I got a notice for this meeting.
When was the first time you had heard of RV Sales of Broward?
I don't recall.
Have you ever read any news articles about RV Sales of Broward?
Not that I can think of.
Do you know the nature of business of RV Sales of Broward?
I would assume it's in the RV sales business. In Broward.
Have you ever had any conversations with any employees of RV Sales of Broward?
Not with any employees, no.
Have you had any conversations with any ownership of the RV Sales of Broward?
I don't know who owns RV Sales of Broward.
Okay. Well, who have you had conversations with related to RV Sales of Broward that's not an employee?
I don't think anybody. I don't know who owns it.
Have you ever done any personal research related to RV Sales of Broward?
I don't do personal research.
Have you ever reviewed any research done by anyone else about RV Sales of Broward?
Not that I can remember.
Do you recognize the name Gigi Stetler at all?
I do. She's right there.
Have you ever met Miss Stetler prior to today?
You know, I have to be honest. I really don't remember.
Do you recall having any telephone conversations with Miss Stetler
I
before?
remember one.
Okay. When did you have a telephone conversation with Miss Stetler?
Honest to God, I have no idea. It wasn't last week.
So, was it probably more than 5 years ago?
I'd say yeah.
And the telephone conversation with Miss Stetler, was that a telephone call that you initiated or she initiated?
I don't remember.
What was the nature of the conversation between you and Miss Stetler?
Bed sheets.
What were you discussing with Miss Stetler about bed sheets?
My memory tells me that she was getting into or already in the bedding business for RVs. Sheets or something, I can't remember.
Were you exploring a potential business partnership with Ms. Stetler?
No, I would say we were having a conversation about distribution potentially in Camping World.
Now, so you're talking about some sort of distribution of bed sheets within the campers sold by Camping
That
World?
is I don't know if it was just within the camper sold. It could have been on the shelf, but that is my best recollection. I can't remember the details.
Did you ever offer Ms. Stetler any jobs related to any of your
I
businesses?
don't think so.
Did you have any knowledge related to any background of Ms. Stetler in the bedding industry?
No.
Did you have any knowledge of Ms. Stetler in the RV industry?
Well, we were talking about RVs, so I assumed she had it.
So after the discussions with the about the bedding and the bed sheets with Ms. Stetler, what happened with the phone call? Was there a follow up or a next step established?
It's a giant fog for me.
Now, in terms of the of Ms. Stetler and RV Sales of Broward Inc., did you ever have any conversations with any of Ms. Stetler's companies that were involved with her business?
Object to form of the question.
I really don't understand you.
Okay, I'll attempt to clarify. Have you ever had any involvement with a company called GE?
Involvement in what way?
Have you ever been involved with receiving financing from GE for any of your businesses?
Personally, or?
For your businesses?
Yeah, I think so.
Is there a particular contact that you've worked with at GE?
None that I can think of.
Did you ever make any offers to Ms. Stetler to assist her with her RV Sales of Broward business?
I don't remember.
Now, if Ms. Stetler testified that you did offer to assist her with RV Sales of Broward Inc., do you have any facts or anything to dispute that allegation?
Object to
That
the form
was
of the question.
Object to the form. You can answer it.
That would be her testimony. I don't.
Do you have any facts or knowledge to dispute any of her testimony?
I don't even
Same
think.
objection.
I don't even think about it.
Now, have you ever been involved with assisting owners of RV businesses before across the country?
Object to form of the question.
No, I don't assist anybody.
Have you ever entered into any partnerships with any other RV companies in the state of across the country?
No, I don't enter into partnerships in our business.
Do you enter into any type of relationship with any other RV companies?
Object to form of the question.
I don't know
Object
what
to the form of the
you mean by
questions.
relationship.
Well, I understand that you don't enter into partnerships. You don't assist these other companies. Are you ever involved in acquiring other RV companies?
Yes.
Have you ever had any desire to acquire RV Sales of Broward?
Not that I remember.
When you acquire another RV sales company, is there a particular process that you or your companies undertake?
Object to form of the question.
I wish there was.
Why do you say you wish there was a process?
Oh, it's different every time.
Prior to joining Freedom Roads, did you ever work in the RV industry?
Uh-huh.
Who did you work for prior to joining Freedom Roads?
Holiday RV Superstores.
Where was Holiday RV Superstores located?
Fort Lauderdale.
So is that where you became aware of the high land costs in Fort Lauderdale was based upon you working in
Nope.
there? When you were working at Holiday RV Sales, were you selling to customers in Broward County, Florida?
No.
Where were you selling to customers?
All over the country.
And some of those customers included from being in Broward County?
No.
why were there no customers from Broward County?
I don't know.
When you stopped working at Holiday RV Sales, what position did you hold?
CEO.
And why did your position as CEO end at Holiday RVs?
I left.
Why did you leave Holiday RVs?
I wanted to do something different.
And what exactly did you end up doing that was different after leaving Holiday RVs?
I started a new business.
When you started the new business, did you have any business partners?
I have lots of business partners.
Were you the majority shareholder of the new business you started?
No,
Who was the majority holder?
there was a number of them.
What were their names?
Steve Adams. I can't recall the other ones. I wasn't that involved.
Do you still work with Mr. Adams today?
All the time.
And what role does Mr. Adams hold?
He's a shareholder.
Is Mr. Adams the majority shareholder of your current company?
No,
Are you the majority shareholder of Camping World Holdings?
no.
Who is the majority shareholder?
Public company.
When you were involved with obtaining financing from GE, did you ever have a particular account representative that you worked with?
Form.
No.
You recognize the name Justin Wood?
Actually, I don't.
The entity Camping World Incorporated, do you have any involvement with that entity?
Camping World Incorporated?
Yes.
I think so.
Is there a relationship that you're aware of between Camping World Incorporated and Camping World Holdings, Inc.?
Form.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you know the relationship?
I think it's a subsidiary. There's a lot of them.
Have you ever been involved with CJ's RV Town in Hope Sound, Florida?
I don't think so.
You recognize the name Joe Shirley at all?
I don't.
Do you recognize the name David Weiger?
I don't.
Do you recognize the name Ken Duvall?
I don't.
Do you recognize the name Beth Carroll at all?
No.
Do you know an entity called Palm Truck Center? Do you have any familiarity with that entity?
I don't.
Do you have any familiarity with Carolyn Presley?
No.
Do you have a knowledge of a company called Fleetwood?
Yes.
How do you know Fleetwood?
They used to be a manufacturer of motorhomes and travel trailers.
Did you or any of your companies ever have any relationships with Fleetwood?
Form.
Yes.
And what was the nature of the relationship by your companies with Fleetwood?
I can't remember specifically what it was, but predominantly we were a customer of theirs.
Did you ever have any issues with Fleetwood or the product that they sold you?
Object to form of the question.
I mean, I have issues with everybody.
Can you recall any specific issues that you had with the Fleetwood Company?
No.
Do you ever have any? You ever recall having any conversations with Miss Stetler regarding issues Miss Stetler may have been having with Fleetwood?
I don't remember.
You ever have any involvement with the Freightliner Company?
I've never, that I can recall, have any connection with them.
When you visited the Winter Equestrian Festival, what observations did you make about the festival itself?
There's a lot of rich people here.
Did you have any observations regarding the geography of the festival?
Object to form of the question.
I don't know what you mean.
Regarding the condition of the grounds, any observations regarding the condition of the grounds of the festival?
Same objection.
No.
Did you have any observations as to how the festival was being run? Did it seem organized? Did it seem...
I didn't care.
Now, do your companies ever acquire RV inventory through auction?
I'm sure from time to time.
Who usually conducts those auctions? Are they usually through sheriff sales or private auctions?
Variety of different forms.
Were you ever aware that some of Miss Stetler's former inventory had gone to auction?
No.
Do you know if you have ever purchased any old inventory of Miss Stetler's at any auction?
I wouldn't know that because I don't believe it discloses who the seller is.
Is your wife at all involved with your current business?
No. Thank God.
This is on the record.
Thank God. Times two.
Is your wife at all involved in the equestrian world?
Yes.
What does your wife do in the equestrian world?
I have no idea.
Have you ever seen your wife? Is she a competitor in the equestrian?
That's what she says.
Have you ever watched your wife compete in any competitions?
I would compete, sure.
Has your wife ever won anything?
Just me.
Has your wife won any equestrian competitions that you're aware of?
No.
Does your wife have any involvement in the current sponsorship of the Winter Equestrian Festival by your companies?
Form of the question.
Same objection.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean by involvement.
Is your wife at all involved with the sponsorship agreement with the Winter Equestrian Festival?
I don't know what you mean by involvement.
As part of the sponsorship with the Winter Equestrian Festival, does your wife receive any benefits? Or is she allowed to, as part of your sponsorship, that she's allowed to compete, or she gets her fees waived?
Object to form of the question.
Same objection.
No, not that I'm aware of. Nor does she get any special ribbons.
Does your wife ever give any presentations as a result of the sponsorship?
I don't know.
Does your family own any horses?
Does my family?
Yes, you and your wife.
I'm sure she does.
What type of horses?
I have no idea. 4 legs.
Do you know if there's one horse or multiple horses?
I have literally no idea.
You know someone by the name of David Cupper?
It sounds familiar, but I don't recall.
Do you know anyone by the name of David Cooper?
It seems too general of a name for me to say Yes or no?
Do you recognize the name Bradley Jones?
I don't. There's a lot of people you have. I don't know who the hell they are.
When you, I know you mentioned that your company had some involvement with the Fleetwood company. Did you have a particular contact or representative at Fleetwood that you interacted with?
No. Oh, sorry. No. No one specifically.
At any point, do you have any recollection of making any offers to take over RV sales of Broward?
Objective form.
I don't recall.
Would you do you keep any records personally related to companies that you offer to take over?
I do not.
Are you aware of any specific records that your business keeps related to companies that they desire to take over?
I am not.
Prior to you taking over a company in the RV industry, do you review any due diligence or research regarding that company?
It depends.
Do you know if your companies have any due diligence or research regarding RV sales of Broward?
I have no idea.
Now, at any point, has your request to sponsor the Winter Equestrian Festival, has that been rejected at any point?
I don't understand the question.
Sometimes when companies want to sponsor or have a sponsorship, they don't always get the sponsorship the first year. They get rejected or said, "Hey, you got to wait in line. We already filled our sponsorships." Do you know if that happened in regards to any of your companies and the Winter Equestrian Festival?
Objective form of the question.
I have no idea.
Have you ever reviewed any business records of RV sales of Broward?
Not that I recall.
Have you ever reviewed any customer lists related to RV sales of Broward?
Not that I recall.
Would customer lists be something that you would want to review prior to taking over a company?
Objective form of the question.
No.
Would knowing that company had customers be a factor in determining whether or not you take over a company?
Well, they wouldn't be in business if they didn't have customers.
Did you ever, as part of your sponsorship with the Winter Equestrian Festival, request that the Winter Equestrian Festival make any improvements to the campgrounds?
Not that I recall.
Do you have any recollection of ever sponsoring any campground improvements or footing the bill for any campground improvements?
So long ago, I don't remember.
Did you ever make any suggestion that the Winter Equestrian Festival be moved to a different location?
Objective form of the question.
I don't remember.
Would it seem like a possibility that if you were sponsoring a particular festival, that you may make recommendations related to improving the festival or improving the location to make sure that you got the maximum benefit out of your sponsorship?
Objective form of the question.
Form of the question as well.
I have no idea.
Were you familiar with a campground associated with the Winter Equestrian Festival?
I'd heard about it,
What did you heard about that campground?
that there was a campground.
Did you have any knowledge related to the utilities associated with that campground?
Not that I remember.
Did you have any knowledge related to the site plan or the any appraisals related to that campground?
Form of the
Form of the
question.
question.
What do you mean by
Get us
appraisals?
both.
What do you mean by appraisals?
Well, and anything about the land or the operations of that campground?
Same
I-
objection.
It would be none of my business. I wouldn't even ask.
Did you get our objection?
Yeah, both.
No.
We're
Both
both
of them.
forming
We
the
both
question.
You recognize the name David Burton Sr.?
It was so long ago, I don't recall.
Okay, you recall ever having any communications with Mr. Burton Sr.?
I don't recall.
Have you ever, do you recall ever having any communication with David Burton Jr.?
I don't recall.
Did you ever have any knowledge of the fact that any of the inventory of RV sales of Broward had been seized by GE?
No, I didn't know that.
Did your companies ever operate the campground that was in connection with the Winter Equestrian Festival?
I don't know.
So you don't have any knowledge as to whether or not your companies were involved with renting the plots where the campers were being kept in the Winter Equestrian Festival?
My company does a lot of things. I don't know every single thing that it does.
Your company, though, has maintained its sponsorship in the Winter Equestrian Festival for many years, though, correct?
Yes.
Has that sponsorship been profitable then?
Who knows?
Forming the question.
Same objection.
I don't really care.
Why does it not matter whether or not the sponsorship?
A lot of things going on, and I don't really think about it.
Are there other tangible benefits of the sponsorship with the Winter Equestrian Festival other than profitability?
No.
What does your current sponsorship with the Winter Equestrian Festival entail?
I have no idea.
Have you reviewed any documents related to the sponsorship of the Winter Equestrian Festival by your company
When?
within the last year?
Not that I could think of.
Within the last 10 years, have you reviewed any documents related to the sponsorship between your company and Winter Equestrian?
Probably too broad of a question. I'm sure I've seen a piece of paper.
What is the current amount of the sponsorship?
I don't know.
Does your sponsorship currently involve any presence by any of your companies at the Winter Equestrian Festival?
I'm sorry, repeat that?
Does the sponsorship currently involve any presence by any of your companies, such as inventory or product on display?
Forming the
Objection. Same objection.
Forming the question for both of us.
Both of them.
What do you mean presence?
Well, is there any inventory on site at the Winter Equestrian Festival that's from your company?
I have no idea.
Do you recognize the name Frank Crum?
Yeah,
How do you know Mr. Crum?
he used to work for me.
What position did Mr. Crum hold?
He was a manager.
What did Mr. Crum manage?
Locations?
Which territory did Mr. Crum manage?
It changed a lot.
Did Mr. Crum ever manage locations in the state of Florida?
Yeah,
When did Mr. Crum cease working for you?
gosh, I don't remember.
When did Mr. Crum first start working for you?
I don't remember the exact date.
You know why Mr. Crum stopped working for you?
He probably didn't like me.
In terms of Have you kept in touch with Mr. Crum at all since he stopped working for
All
you?
the time.
Where does Mr. Crum reside today?
I don't know.
You said you keep in touch with him all the time.
Yeah,
You don't know where he's living, or
I don't.
you know what Mr. Crum's doing nowadays?
I actually don't.
When you have your conversations with Mr. Crum, what do you discuss?
I don't have conversations with him.
Well, you said you keep in touch with him.
Right?
What's the nature of your keeping in touch with Mr. Crum?
Could be a variety of different forms.
What would be the most recent form that you communicated with Mr. Crum?
Probably text message.
And what was the nature of your most recent text messages with
Oh
Mr.
God,
Crum?
I get text messages all day. I have no idea.
You recognize the name Neil Cross?
No,
You recognize the name John Ciparelli?
no.
Does Mr. Adams work primarily in the Lincolnshire location?
He doesn't work anywhere.
Where's Mr. Adams live?
It was a couple different residences.
Where are his residences?
I don't ask him where he lives. I don't know specifically.
You ever been to any of Mr. Adams' residences?
No.
You happen to know Ken Smith?
I mean, it seems like too generic of a name. I don't know.
Have you ever been involved with any of the Ken and Emily Smith family training in relation to the equestrian industry?
Object to form of the question.
Form of the question.
I have no idea.
Would you classify RV Sales of Broward Inc. as a competitor of Camping World?
Sure, everybody's a competitor.
Did you ever have any animosity between Camping World and RV Sales of Broward?
No.
Now, in terms of Camping World's involvement with Fleetwood, what type of products would Camping World acquire from Fleetwood?
Now?
No, back when there was a relationship with Fleetwood.
Object to form of the question.
RVs?
Were there particular types of RVs?
No.
Were there white RVs?
I'm sorry?
White-colored RVs?
I have no idea.
Have you ever seen a white-colored RV from Fleetwood?
A white-colored RV?
Correct.
Like a hospital looking? No.
The exterior of it, right?
No, I've never seen a white RV.
Does Camping World display the Fleetwood RVs currently?
No.
Are you aware as to whether or not Camping World ever displayed the Fleetwood RVs at the Winter Equestrian Festival?
I don't know specifically what was displayed there, if anything.
Did Camping World at any point have any control over what occurred at the campground that was associated with the Winter Equestrian Festival?
Object to
Form
form
of
of
the-
the question.
Form of the question as well.
I don't even know what you mean by control.
Was there any authority that Camping World had related to the Winter Equestrian Festival campground?
Same objection.
I don't know what you mean by authority.
So your testimony today is that you don't have any knowledge of any relationship between Camping World and a campground that was affiliated or next to the Winter Equestrian Festival?
Object to form of the question.
Form of the question as well.
No, I didn't say that.
Well, do you have knowledge of a particular plot of land that was a campground that was connected with the Winter Equestrian Festival?
Object to form of the question.
I don't have
Same.
any knowledge of any specific plot of land.
Have you ever heard of the entity Camping World Leasing Company, LLC?
I have.
What is your knowledge of Camping World Leasing Company, LLC?
It doesn't exist anymore.
When did Camping World Leasing Company, LLC cease to exist?
I don't remember.
Was it within the last few years?
I don't remember.
Did you have any involvement with Were you a member of Camping World Leasing Company, LLC?
Object to form of the question.
I don't know if I was a member or not.
Who oversaw the operations of Camping World Leasing Company, LLC?
I can't remember exactly who did.
When did Camping World Leasing Company, LLC form?
I don't know.
Was Camping World Leasing Company, LLC a subsidiary of Freedom Roads?
I don't know where it was in the org chart.
Do you have any knowledge related to the competitive marketplace for RV sales in Broward County, Florida?
Object to form of the question.
Form of the question.
No.
Have you ever reviewed any customer lists of RV sales of Broward?
Asked and answered.
Not that I could recall.
I join his objection, by the way.
Are customer lists something that are usually kept confidential by companies in the RV industry?
Object to
Form of the
form of the
question.
question.
In fact, in lack of foundation.
No.
They're not kept confidential?
No.
Same objection.
Join.
So why are customer lists usually not kept confidential?
I don't know.
You maintain customer lists for consumers of Camping World products?
Yes.
Are those customer lists of Camping World products ever published?
No.
So those Camping World customer lists are usually kept confidential?
Yes.
When you acquire an RV company, you usually acquire their customer lists as well?
Object to form of the question.
Same.
Usually.
Would that be a prerequisite to acquiring another RV company, would be to make sure to have their customer list?
Object to
Form
form
of
of
the
the question.
Form of the question.
Depends.
Can you think of a reason why you would not need the customer list in order to acquire an RV company?
Same objection.
Form of the question.
No.
Now, are you aware of any information that Camping World is required to provide to the Winter Equestrian Festival in conjunction with its sponsorship?
No.
Does Camping World provide its customer list to the Winter Equestrian Festival as part of its sponsorship?
Not that I know of.
Have you ever seen the RV sales of Broward customer list disseminated in a public forum?
Object to form of the question.
No.
Do you have any personal knowledge related to any of the prior relationship between RV sales of Broward and the Winter Equestrian Festival?
Object to form of the question.
Same.
Can you restate that, please?
Sure. Do you personally have any knowledge related to any relationship between the RV sales of Broward Company and the Winter Equestrian Festival?
Same objection.
The existence of it?
Correct.
That it existed?
You were aware of that?
That it existed, sure, but not the particulars.
And how did you become aware that there was a prior relationship between RV sales of Broward and the Winter Equestrian Festival?
I don't remember how I heard about it.
And I'd like to go over a few documents with you, sir.
Great.
The first document we'll go ahead and mark as Exhibit Number 1. I have a copy for both Mr. Rosenbaum and Mr. Clausen. One.
Thank you.
All right, sir, what I've just handed you has been marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize the address of the Lauderhill, Florida 333113901 Northwest 16th Street address?
What did you just say? What address?
The address to which the document dated August 1st, 2009 is addressed, 3901 Northwest 16th Street. Do you recognize that address?
No.
Do you recognize an individual by the name of Neil Kloss to whom this document's being sent?
No.
Do you recognize this particular document a permit renewal application for the Littlewood Campground?
No.
Is 39, so you don't recognize any of the to whom any of the entities, Littlewood Campground or Neil Kloss, to whom this letter has been addressed to?
I don't.
Have you ever seen this document before today?
No.
All right, the next document I'll show you will go ahead and mark as Exhibit 2.
Do you want this back?
Sure, we can just leave it with the court reporter.
Okay.
Thank you. There's copies for counsel. Now, if you can take a brief moment and look over what's been marked as Exhibit 2. Now, Mr. Lemonis, would you agree that Exhibit 2 appears to be a series of emails between yourself and Mr. Burton?
Sure.
And so it looks like the first email discusses Mr. Bellissimo actually sends an email both to you and Mr. Burton to discuss various sponsorship RV Village possibilities. Does this help jog your memory in terms of your original sponsorship with the
It doesn't.
RV Village?
It doesn't help jog it, no.
And then it also indicates some discussions. I guess Mr. Burton indicated he was going to speak with you, or that you were to give him a call related to the sponsorships. So you agree that that's something that you wrote where it says, David, let's connect, but plan on Thursday afternoon next week or not this week, correct?
That's
Form
my
of the
email.
question.
Same objection.
Do you recall any subsequent phone calls that you had between you and Mr. Burton?
I don't.
So it looks like from this email, I guess it was August of 2009, August 3rd, that you were first involved with connecting with Mr. Burton about sponsorship. Is that correct?
Object to form of the question.
Well, I'm not sure I understand your question.
Did you have any involvement with wanting to sponsor the Winter Equestrian Festival prior to this August of 2009?
I don't know.
Do you recall any telephone calls that you and Mr. Burton Jr. may have had related to sponsorship, as discussed in this email?
I don't.
Do you know what Mr. Bellissimo was indicating when he talked about RV Village possibilities?
Object to form of the question.
Same.
I don't.
Are you familiar with an RV Village that was associated with the Winter Equestrian Festival?
Same objection.
Same objection.
I don't recall the term.
Have you ever heard of the term RV Village before?
Same objection.
I've heard of Village RV.
What is Village RV?
That's a business we bought in California.
And was it similar line of business where you went and purchased, the company sold RVs to consumers?
Object to form of the question.
Yeah.
And have you ever purchased any other businesses in the state of Florida that sold RVs to consumers?
Yeah.
Which other businesses?
A few of them.
Which ones do you recall?
I don't remember the specific entities.
You ever been involved with purchasing RV businesses in the state of Arizona?
Yeah.
Were you involved with the acquisition of the Boudry RV?
No.
Boudry, B-A-U-D-R-Y?
No.
You ever recall being involved in the acquisition of American RV down in Mississippi?
In Mississippi?
Yes.
No.
Would it have we'll scrap that. Moving on, we'll go ahead and mark the next email as Exhibit 3. And it's a series of emails that's a total of 5 pages.
Like
Yes,
a
sir.
composite exhibit 3 then?
Yes, we'll make it composite exhibit 3. Here's a copy for Mr. Clausen and Mr. Rosen. All right, so it looks like we're looking at an email chain, sir, from around the time period of September and October.
Do you have anything that's got better print to it? I can't really read it.
Yeah, this is the
What's the number? CW number?
27 through 31. Yeah, let's just take 5 minutes and I'll have a better copy run for you.
Okay.
We are going off the record. The time is 12:19 p.m. We are back on the record. The time is 12:58 p.m.
All right, Mr. Lemonis, just want to remind you, you're still under oath as you were sworn in earlier this
Yeah.
morning. How did you first hear about the Winter Equestrian Festival itself? I know we had talked earlier about your company's sponsorship in it, but how did you first hear of that particular event?
I don't remember.
Are you familiar of any contracts between any of your companies and any companies owned by Mr. Bellissimo?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Sure. Are there any contracts that you're aware of between any of your companies and Mr. Bellissimo's companies?
Today?
Yes.
Can you define contracts for me?
Sure. Contracts, any agreements between entities?
Objective form of the question.
I mean, there's a sponsorship, if that's what you're referring to.
Okay. Is there any other contracts beyond the sponsorship that you're aware of?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Do you have any personal agreements between yourself personally and Mr. Bellissimo?
No.
Do you have any agreements between yourself personally and any of Mr. Bellissimo's companies?
Not that I know of.
Do you have an intention to attend a trial in this particular proceeding?
Objective form of the question.
Object to the form of the question.
I don't understand what that means.
Okay. Well, are you planning on attending trial if the case goes to a trial?
Same objection.
Same.
I mean, if it goes to trial, do I have a choice?
I'm not sure if
I don't know how the process works. So I've never been to a trial, so I don't know what the process is like.
have you ever been involved in any other lawsuits other than this case?
Yeah.
But you've never attended any other trials?
No, I've never been to a trial.
Have you ever attended a mediation before?
I can't remember.
Have you ever personally filed suit against anyone before?
Personally
Yes.
filed suit? I don't think so. Not that I can recall. I can't remember if it was me or the entity, but I don't think so.
Have you personally ever been sued before? Have you ever appeared as a defendant?
Appeared?
Have you ever been named as a defendant personally?
Yes.
What type of case?
I can't recall.
Do you know where that case was?
I don't.
How recently was that case?
I don't know.
Do you know what happened with that case?
I don't know.
All right. I would like at this time to mark as a composite exhibit number 4. Should be a little clearer version of those documents. I'm not trying to strain your eyes or anything. I have copies for everyone.
Are we leaving 3?
Yeah, we'll leave 3.
Okay.
So
This is the same thing as 3?
it's very similar to 3. Yes.
Very similar in what sense? It's just legible?
Yes, more legible than 3.
Is there anything else that's different about it?
Let's take a look at it.
This is only 3 pages as opposed to 5.
Yeah, I think there's 1 page less.
You said the other one was 5, I believe.
Right.
This is 3, the one I have.
Actually, I may have actually,
missing a pa-
you might be
excuse me.
missing a page.
That explains. Okay, great, thank you. Well, now, all right, so you're not using Camping World 30.
Correct.
Okay,
I'm not using
all right.
30.
We just don't have a legible one.
All right. You have the document in front of you, sir?
I do. I was trying to understand the difference between 3 and 4.
Okay. The difference between 3 and 4 is that there's an additional page in 3 that we will not be relying upon in 4.
Okay, so the context of what's in 3 is not relevant?
Correct. I don't need you to worry about 3 at this point.
Okay.
Now, sir, looking at the first page of Exhibit 4, on the right-hand side, it's date stamp number 27. It appears to be a series of emails. Do you recognize that this is an email from you, M. Lemonis, at campingworldrv.com? Does that appear to be an email address that you used?
I don't see any email from me.
Scrolling midway down the page, it looks like beginning where it says on October 7th, 2009 at 11:59 a.m.
Oh, okay, I see that. Yep.
Is that an email from you, sir?
Yes,
Okay. And is that an email address that you used, mlemonis at campingworldrv.com?
yes.
And is Camping World RV a doing business as that you used, or
That may have just been an email address.
did you also use the entity name Freedom RV ever? I know you had said Freedom Roads RV. Did you also use Freedom RV ever as a name or business?
I don't think so.
And do you recognize this phone number, 847-808-3000, as one of the numbers associated with you or your
I do.
businesses?
Yeah.
And did you ever utilize any other phone numbers for your businesses?
Oh gosh, there's a whole tree of extensions. So yes, there's plenty of other numbers.
Now, it looks like there's also in the email chain. There's also a John A. Sirpilla. Do you recognize John A. Sirpilla?
Yes,
How do you know Mr. Sirpilla?
he works for the company.
What position did he have with the company?
Well, according to this email, president of retail operations.
And he was president of retail operations for Freedom Roads.
I don't remember exactly what entity he was responsible for in that moment.
But it was involved with the Camping World Freedom Roads.
Object to formal question.
Same objection.
Retail operations. Yeah,
And what did the retail operations division handle?
retail.
Retail of what?
The products and services that Camping World and Freedom Road sells.
And those products and services were the sale of the RVs that we talked about before?
Amongst a bunch of other things, yeah.
And then it looks like there's a discussion of a rate sheet and a promotional offer. What is that refer to when it says rate sheets and promotional offers for rentals?
Object to form of the question.
Where do I see that?
On the Mr. Serpilla's email at the top of the page that he copied you and Mr. Bellissimo on,
Same objection.
Which page are you looking at, just so I know?
Yeah.
where-
about 27.
Okay, thank you.
So what is the question again, sir?
The question involves, what is a rate sheet in connection with rentals?
Reminder, please.
Object to
email
form of the
the
question.
rate sheet. I have no idea.
Have you ever heard of the term rate sheets in connection with the RV business?
I haven't, actually.
And where it talks about rentals, is that referring, do you know what that's referring to
Object.
in Mr. Serpilla's email?
Object to form of the question.
Same
No, I didn't write
objection.
the email, so I don't know.
All right, and then it appears that if we go down the page, there's an original email from September 30th, 2009 by Mr. Bellissimo, and it looks like you're one of the entities copied on it. or one of the recipients of the email, and it looks like Mr. Bellissimo writes, "Thank you for your patience in receiving our sponsorship agreement for WEF 2010. We have enclosed a draft proposal for your review and consideration. Please contact me to discuss your thoughts on the proposal and whether you feel any revisions are necessary. You mentioned that you did not care how the deal was structured, as you are viewing this as an investment in the location and the industry, so I structured as a sponsorship." What does that mean about where Mr. Bellissimo is saying that you didn't really care how the deal was structured?
Object to form of the question.
I don't know what he
Form of the
meant.
question as well.
Well, what type of deal were you all discussing in terms of an investment in a location?
I have no idea.
Would the location have likely been the campground?
I don't know.
Same objection.
And then it also indicates that there's a standard sponsor license agreement attached and a proposed press release to be released immediately upon signing. Is that usually standard press release for sponsorships with Camping World, whenever Camping World gets involved in a sponsorship?
Object to form of the question.
I don't know how he runs his business.
Now, it looks like in the email to you by Mr. Bellissimo, he also talks about strategy. And he talks about introducing the relationship via press release email blast, introducing and promoting Camping World heavily during the steeplechase to get the name out to our constituents. Why was the steeplechase so important for having the name out for Camping World?
Form of the question.
Object to form of the question.
I don't know what a steeplechase is.
And it said, we are expecting over 10,000 people at this event. We should have a few RVs available at this event in order to promote the quality of your products and your company. These RVs that would be available at the event, would those RVs come from inventory of Camping World at other locations in Florida, or where would they come from?
Object to form of the question.
Well, this is his email to us, so I don't understand what your question is.
My question is about this strategy. Was this his strategy, or was this also Camping World's
It
strategy?
says our strategy is as follows. He's speaking for himself.
Well, when he says our, was that also referring to strategy, to your strategy as well from before when you got, because it appeared that in order for him to send you
Mr.
this
Bellissimo
email.
does not set our
Excuse me,
strategy.
form of the question.
Object to form of the question.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Mr. Bellissimo does not set our strategy, my company's strategy. So he's referring to himself.
Okay. Would you have had conversations with Mr. Bellissimo prior to him sending this email on September 30th, 2009, before he sent over this particular email about sponsorship?
I don't recall any specific conversations.
Would you have agreed with Mr. Bellissimo's strategy for Camping World about promoting the Camping World product to the steeplechase constituents?
I don't know
Form
what
of the question.
steeplechase is.
Same here.
Now, there had also been, the third part of the strategy is to introduce the Camping World as the new quality standard throughout the industry. Was there some sort of differentiation between the quality of product of Camping World and its competitors in 2009, where Camping World somehow had the superior product at this point?
Object to form of the question.
Same objection.
It sounds like marketing jargon to me.
Do you know where Mr. Bellissimo would have gotten his knowledge about the quality or standard of the Camping World product?
Object to
Form of the question. Same here. Objection.
I don't know that he's saying that he. I have no idea. You have to ask him.
Now, Mr. Bellissimo states in his email that in this market, people are looking for low-cost alternatives with a high level of quality. Would you classify the Camping World products that they sold as a low-cost alternative with a high level of quality.
Object to form of
I
the
don't know what the comparison would be against.
Well, it looks like here Mr. Bellissimo's referencing the alternative to RV sales of Broward. Would you have any knowledge as to the quality of the product of RV sales of Broward?
question. Object to form of the question.
Subject to the
No.
form.
Excuse me.
Now, in his proposal, moving down the page where Mr. Bellissimo references sponsor will pay ESP 20% of the net profit, what did that net profit entail?
Object to form of the
I
question.
have no idea.
And then it also indicates later on in the email that ESP will use commercially reasonable efforts to acquire a list of former campground users. Why would acquiring a list of former campground users be important to this type of relationship?
You'd have to ask
Form of the
him.
question as well.
You'd have to ask him.
Would acquiring a list of campground users be important to Camping World at all in connection with its relationship with the Winter Equestrian Festival?
Object to form of the question.
Not really.
Would Camping World have had any interest in operating out of the success of the campground in connection with the Winter Equestrian Festival sponsorship?
Form.
I don't understand the question.
Well, this campground users, I understand that it looks like it's going to be part of the arrangement. Would that have had would Camping World have any care as to these campground users in connection with the Winter Equestrian Festival?
Object to form of the question.
Form of the question.
I'm sorry, I still don't understand the question.
Would the campground users that use the Winter Equestrian Festival, would those be considered potential clients of Camping World?
Object to form of the question.
Same objection.
Any RVer would be considered a potential client of any kind.
So for Camping World to want to do this particular deal with the Winter Equestrian Festival, they want to make sure that the folks that are using the campground are being exposed to the products of Camping World?
Object to form of the question.
I don't
Same
understand the
objection.
question.
Well, the folks that would be using the campground, we just established that they would be potential clients of Camping World.
No, I didn't establish that you did.
Form of the question.
Well, I established that they might be a potential client of Camping World.
You established it.
Agreed.
I didn't.
So would you agree with me that those particular campground users, it would be in the best interest of Camping World to provide exposure to the Camping World products to those users?
Object to form of the question.
Same
Camping World's
objection.
in the business of providing exposure of their brand to anybody that's interested in the lifestyle.
And it also indicates that sponsor will provide a 1-800 number to act as concierge for the property. Do you have any knowledge as to what that refers to, a 1-800 concierge line?
This is not my email. I didn't write it. Sounds like a good idea, though.
And then it looks like, just moving down the page, ESP will work with sponsor to prep property location so that it is high and dry, so that it is a higher quality offering than in the past. What property locations would Camping World have been interested in with the Winter Equestrian Festival?
Same
I don't
objection.
know what ESP is.
It looks like here that ESP stands for Equestrian Sport Productions. Have you heard of that company before?
I haven't.
Right, and it also looks like that ESP will take responsibility of the on-site improvements and make sure that water and electric is available to the area. Is that referring to the campground?
Objective form of the question.
You'd have to ask the writer of the email.
Has Camping World ever been involved with any campgrounds in other locations?
Camping World is not in the campground business.
Has Camping World ever been involved with ensuring water and electricity to campgrounds for the users of Camping World products?
I don't understand the question.
I understand that Camping World is not involved in the business of campgrounds. However, are you aware of any point in which Camping World has been involved in ensuring proper water, electricity for users of the Camping World products in campgrounds across the U.S.?
You lose me when you say Camping World products. I don't understand what that means.
I'm referring to people who stay in RVs that are sold to them or leased to them by Camping World.
I have no idea what you're asking me.
Has Camping World or you ever been involved with negotiating for electricity rights or water rights for any of these campgrounds?
Form.
What campgrounds are you referring to?
Any campgrounds that users of the inventory of Camping World, so either they lease out this inventory or they purchase this inventory.
I'm sorry, I still don't understand the question.
All right, let me try to rephrase the question.
Okay.
Would you agree with me that at the Winter Equestrian Festival, the Camping World provided RVs for people to lease out and stay in?
Objective form of the question.
Repeat the question.
Would you agree with me that Camping World provided RVs for people to lease out and stay in related to the Winter Equestrian Festival?
I don't know what
Objective
the
form.
technical nature of what was done there was, so I can't agree with you. I don't know specifically.
Did Camping World ever operate any campgrounds associated with the Winter Equestrian Festival
Objective
in
form of the
Wellington?
question.
Camping World does not operate campgrounds.
Did the Camping World leasing company ever operate any campgrounds?
Camping World or any of its affiliates does not operate campgrounds.
And it has not operated any campgrounds in any related to any festivals or any events?
Objective form of the question. Asked and answered.
Same objection.
Well, I think you have to get the definition of campground right.
How would you define campground?
I don't know. There's lots of different types.
Well, when we're referring to a campground,
It's too vague for me.
would you agree that a definition of campground is a plot of land in which RVs are located on it?
Form.
No.
What is your best definition of a campground?
There's too many variations.
So continuing on with the exhibit, moving on to the third page of the exhibit CW0029, it looks like there is also an email, appears to be from you, from Wednesday, September 30th,
Which page?
The third page, 29, will appear on the right-hand side.
Okay.
And at the bottom of the page, there it says original message from Marcus Lemonis, which has your email address, to Mark Bellissimo, which states, any update on agreement, we are running out of time. What did you mean when you said we are running out of time?
Gosh, I have no idea.
So when you sent the email to Mr. Bellissimo related to any update on the agreement, you were referring to the agreement. Which agreement were you referring to?
I don't remember. I don't recall.
Does reading Mr. Bellissimo's response to your email that was sent, it looks like it was sent at 2:10 a.m. Does that help jog your memory at all related to the agreement?
I shouldn't be writing emails at 2:10. I don't remember.
Do you ever write emails at 2:10 a.m.?
I do. I mean, I don't know specifically if it was 2:10 again, but I write them all the time.
And in fact, it looks like you were using a smartphone device, an iPhone at that time, correct?
Yeah, looks like it.
Do you send emails from your iPhone ever?
Apparently so.
Well, no one else would be sending emails from your iPhone, correct?
Oh, gosh, no. Absolutely not. Any email that comes from me came from me.
Would you have ever instructed Mr. Serpilla to be involved with the negotiations of this particular agreement?
I may have.
Now, what would have been important for you with for Camping World in connection with this particular agreement?
Objective form.
Maximum value, minimum costs.
And prior to entering into the arrangement with the Winter Equestrian Festival, had you ever had any involvement with any other types of equestrian festivals?
Objective form of the question.
It's an objection.
Not that I can recall.
So looking at the last page, it's marked page 31. It talks about, appears to be an email from Mr. Serpola to Mark Bellissimo and Brent Moody. And it indicates that it says, Marcus is seriously concerned about the water issue with the RV lots. He recalled the water problem from last year and needs to ensure that the contract clearly states that our acceptance of this ground is based upon the improvement of the ground to be high and dry, as you put it. What was your concern about the water issue with the RV lots?
Objective form of the question.
I wasn't on this email, so I don't know.
Did you ever have any communication with Mr. Serpillo related to a water issue with RV lots?
I don't recall.
Now, it also talks about CW retail space will be provided with the opportunity to have a locked space for security to ensure product is not stolen. It does not need to be a large space, but adequate to provide a retail store environment. Do you have any knowledge related to this CW retail space?
I don't. This is Johnny's area, apparently.
When you went to the Winter Equestrian Festival, did you ever see any retail space by Camping World at the location?
Objective form of the question asked and answered.
What was your question?
Sure. The time that you went to the Winter Equestrian Festival, do you recall seeing a Camping World retail space at the Winter Equestrian Festival?
Same objection.
No.
All right. He also mentions in the last bullet point of the email, saying, last but not least, Marcus would never ask for this, but as a close friend of his family. Did you consider Mr. Serpillo a close friend of yours?
Everybody that works with me is a close friend of mine, including Frank Crum.
And it says, I want to ensure that his wife has VIP treatment while on the property. Ela will be there with their RV and participating in the event as well. Do you and your wife own an RV?
I don't know.
Does your wife own an RV?
No.
Have you ever owned an RV?
No.
Has your wife ever owned an RV?
No.
Ask and answer.
Do you know what would Mr. Serpilla be referring to when he was saying that Ela will be there with their RV?
I have no
Objective
idea.
question.
Join.
Have you ever personally requested that your wife receive VIP treatment in connection with any of the equestrian events that she's participated in?
Objective form of the question.
Not that I can recall, but if I did, I would be glad that I did.
Do you have any specific personal knowledge of any VIP treatment that your wife received in connection with the Wellington Winter Equestrian Festival?
I don't. You'd have to ask her.
Did you speak with anyone other than your counsel in connection with today's deposition?
No. Do I put away 4?
Yes, please. Thank you. If you'll just pass it on to the court reporter.
Where was 30, by the way? Where's
You
the
have it, it
missing
was your bad
page?
copy.
Well, that was the last page. Where was the page that's missing in here? There's a page missing.
It's the original one, but it's a bad copy. That's the one we couldn't read.
27, 28, 29, 31.
Correct. 30 is with exhibit number 3. We just don't have a more legible copy of it at this point.
Okay.
I know we were talking about different phone numbers of the Camping World and the company.
Personal cell phone on the record at all, so we're going to have that stricken from the record. The agreement, obviously you have the number, but it's going to be stricken from the record.
Well,
It's in your documents.
I don't really care.
For purposes of today's deposition, it's going to be stricken from the record. You can use it for whatever purpose you're going to use it for in the case, but it's going to be stricken from the record.
With the number that was just referenced that you identified as your personal cell phone number, do you provide that phone number to anyone else to utilize? Does anyone else have access to your phone besides yourself?
Asked and answered.
Form
Objective
of the
form.
question.
I don't understand the question.
Okay. The phone which is associated with that phone number that we just mentioned, does anyone else utilize that phone or have access to it?
Objective form of the question.
Not that I know of.
Would that cell phone number that we just referenced, would that have been the number that if you had called Mrs. Stetler that you would have used to call her?
I don't. I could have been home. I could have been at my office. I have no idea. I don't just dial from one phone.
So if that phone number appeared on Miss Stetler's phone records, that call would have come from you personally,
Objective
correct?
form of the question.
Absolutely.
And who is your cell phone carrier?
Today?
Do you still use this number today?
Right, but you can move phone numbers around.
That's true.
I don't remember who it was at the time.
Who do you use today?
I think AT&T.
The next document we'll go ahead and mark as Exhibit 5. Here's a copy for you, sir.
Thank you.
It's a copy for Mr. Clausen and a copy for Mr. Rosenbaum. The email appears to be an email between Meg Kruger and John Serpilla and Meg Kay. Do you recognize Meg Kay?
I think the name sounds familiar to me, yeah.
Did you ever have any conversations with Meg Kruger?
Is that different than Meg Kay?
No. Not to the best of my knowledge.
I think I may have.
Well, what do you recall from the nature of your conversation with you and Miss Kruger?
Gosh, I don't. It's so long ago. I don't remember.
Now, this talks about potential. John Serpello, he would have been involved with the marketing as well for the relationship between the Winter Equestrian Festival and Camping World.
Objective form of the question.
What was the question?
Mr. Serpello, was part of his responsibilities handling marketing strategies?
We're a flat organization, so everybody does a little bit of everything.
So this wouldn't have been outside of Mr. Serpello's job scope, correct?
Form.
With Johnny, you never know.
Now, one of the things that he mentions in here is he talks about presentations. It says, please have Isla contact me if she would like to participate in presentations or the Sunday Parade of Champions. Do you have any knowledge related to any presentations that your wife would have been involved with?
Objective form, asked and answered.
I don't.
Are you familiar of any of the promotional materials that may have been provided by Camping World for use at the Winter Equestrian Festival?
Provided by who?
Provided by Camping World. So
To who?
to the Winter Equestrian Festival.
I don't understand the question.
All right. So in the email, it says, if your team can send me some promotional materials, I can place them in the exhibitor services building.
What's the question?
Are you familiar with what these promotional materials were?
Objective form of the question.
No.
Ms. Kruger's email also mentions an individual by the name of Michael Stone. Do you recognize that name?
I don't.
Does reviewing, did Mr. Serpola ever show you this particular email?
Not that I recall. I don't keep track of it.
The next document, Mr. Lemonis, is this document will mark as Exhibit 6, copies from Mr. Klaus and Mr. Rosenbaum. Do you have any, did you ever have any conversations with your wife related to the Winter Equestrian Festival?
Objective
Yes.
form of the question.
Did you ever have any conversations with her in regards to the Camping World sponsorship of the Winter Equestrian Festival?
Yes.
Okay, what was the nature of these conversations?
So any conversation between Mr. and Mrs. Lemonis is privileged under the marital privilege. So I'm going to instruct the witness not to answer any questions as it relates to any conversations he had with his wife.
All right, the next document I'll show you is exhibit number 7. Sir, if you can take a look at that. Here's copies for Mr. Clausen and Mr. Rosenbaum. All right, so with exhibit number 7, sir, where the emails where they say from Marcus Lemonis, would you agree that those are emails that you sent?
Where do you want me to start, from the top or the bottom?
Let's start at the top. The why are we having to deal with this, Marcus? Is that an email that you would have sent?
Yes.
And it looks like there was then an email from ilemonis@gmail.com. Is that one of your wife's email addresses?
Yes.
And it says, why are you guys not calling proper authorities to get her? This woman just got a judgment of $500,000 against her from a lawsuit from Textron, a floor plan lender. The judge ruled against her this AM. What's that referring to?
I have no idea.
It says she needs people to start fighting back and pushing back. You need Johnny to call Mark and complain some more about her and tell him her interference is costing WEF business. What's that referring to?
Objective form of the question.
I have no idea.
Is Johnny John Serpola?
Form.
Same objection.
I would assume yes.
Did you ever complain about any woman that was interfering with the Winter Equestrian Festival to anyone?
Objective form of the question.
I don't understand the question.
Well, it says here, you need Johnny to call Mark and complain some more about her. Did you ever complain about this woman?
Which woman are you referring to?
The woman in the email.
Objective form
I
of
don't
the
know who
question.
you're referring to.
Did you ever complain about any women at the Winter Equestrian Festival?
Not that I can
Objective
recall.
form of the question.
And it looks like there's